Well, good evening. We'll wait a couple of seconds, few seconds, maybe even a couple of minutes for people to get in here. You should have known by now on social media that we are live tonight. And just for my own sanity, I'm going to make sure that everything is live the way it's supposed to be because, well, sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. Yeah, I know exactly who it is. Jared, I know exactly yeah. Make sure that you guys share this. Let's get a bunch of people in here tonight and let's chat about whatever you guys want to talk about. I'm trying some new stuff as far as the podcast goes. I finally figured out how to use my DSLR to set up the podcast so that I'm not using the internal camera on my MacBook. Set up a little bit of a background, did some different lighting stuff, so hopefully it's a little bit more visually appealing. If the audio is a little bit too loud for you guys, let me know, and I will adjust the audio as needed. And if you can hear a fan in the background, it's because the AC upstairs doesn't work, and I don't want my office downstairs. So, but if it becomes annoying, then I'll just turn it off. I just do it to cool everything down, and it was like 85 degrees here today. So, I ask all of you to certainly get the word out, share the live, and we'll I'm open for whatever questions that you guys have, whatever you want to talk about. You know that I'm pretty upfront about my opinions on stuff. I'm just trying to see if I can actually read the comments without having to use my glasses, which of course I can't. So there's that. I'm just saying I need to do something about that. But share. Everybody share this live. I'll be like one of those obnoxious people on TikTok. Share the live. I just want to get a bunch of people in here tonight so we can chit-chat about everything that is either car culture, drag racing, whatever you guys want to talk about. I'm good with it. So drop your questions, and if I miss a question, I apologize. You can always do it again, and yeah. So Thursday, May 2nd. What's happening, Tasha? So Thursday, May 2nd, we're about 9 p.m. Eastern time. And my screen just went completely dark. I'm assuming that nobody can see me, and I'm not even sure why. That's a problem. Let's see if we can get it to come back. There we go. Not sure why that shut off on me. But again, learning curve. I guess we will figure it out as we go, I guess. I also, I fixed it. Don't say that too loud. People might take offense to that. So, I mean, there's so much stuff that we can talk about, but what's on everybody's mind? Yeah, I went dark for a second. The camera shut off. I'm still trying to figure this setup out and figure if it goes into like a sleep mode or what the deal is with it. So we may have some difficulties when it comes to that, but I will definitely do my best to make sure that it doesn't happen too much. Obviously, I can see when it happens. Yeah, I just, and I don't know. I'll figure it out, but it'll take a while. So, what should we talk about? Now, we could talk about the penalties leveled by NHRA on Tasca and Greg Anderson today. Ellen sent that over to me, and I can't help but but kind of laugh about it. Like, I mean, some days I think that NHRA is just so clueless about things. Bob came out and did an interview right after this happened. He was on with Brian Loans and Tony Pedregon and explained why he was DQ'd and what happened. And even the fact that AJ said that there was no dimensional change to the intake manifold, and yet NHRA, because of some discoloring, which anybody who knows metallurgy at all knows that if you use different chemicals, whether it's part of the cleaning process or whatever it may be, that it can change the colors of metal because of the way that it reacts to the metal. So I'm not quite sure what NHRA is thinking in regards to that is when the manufacturer says there's no change dimensionally in the intake, and NHRA still essentially says, yeah, we don't care. Because that's always NHRA's thought process is, we don't care. We're just going to do whatever we want to do, and we don't care. I mean, this is not something new. I don't know the whole Greg Anderson situation, so I'm not even going to comment on that because I don't have enough information technically to speak on that. But in regards to, and Bob brought up a lot of good points. Well, what happens when you start welding heads and, doing all this other stuff? And Ellen would be great to speak on regarding this because she has been part of an NHRA funny car team before. So she would obviously have more knowledge, or Scott Palmer for that matter, would have more knowledge. This constant autofocus thing is going to drive me nuts, so I'm going to turn it on manual focus and hope that the camera doesn't go into some kind of sleep mode again. It is running off of a battery and not plugged into the wall, so that might be some of my issue. But again, just trying out new things, see how things go. The Tasca thing I think is ridiculous, and this whole $5,000 goes to Safety Safari, or whatever it is. If that's true, if their fines actually go towards funding Safety Safari and new equipment or whatever it may be, I'm fine with fines, legitimate fines, as long as that money is going to where they say it's going. And I don't know either way because obviously I'm not, privy to that. We just have to take it at face value. So, yeah, I mean, if the money is, if that's what it's going for and they're legitimate fines, then fine, whatever. Do I think the Tasca thing, based on the information that I have, do I think it was a legitimate penalty? No. And it's funny because then he got a intake from, I think it was Torrance, and went out there and just blasted numbers like, damn. So this whole idea that Bob was trying to skirt the rules in regards to the intake manifold rule or any rule, I find hard to believe. I don't know Bob personally, but from everything that I can understand, Bob is a pretty damn stand-up guy. So, and I'm not saying that just because I'm a Ford guy. I'm saying that because everything that I've ever heard about Bob has been really stand-up. And, if I'm Bob or any other team that deals with that, I think there needs to be, well, one, there's a complete lack of transparency with NHRA. There always has been. They think it's transparent, but, I mean, when you just use the word modify, okay, so are we going to start black and whiting everything? And can you prove that there was any performance advantage, or are you just doing this because you didn't like the color of the metal? I mean, that's what you're basing this off of? And if there's more to it, then tell us. Then, put a full report out. This is what I would like for NHRA to do, or any organization, not just NHRA, whether it's Midwest or PDRA or NMCA, NMRA, IHRA, whatever it is. If you penalize somebody because of a rule infraction, don't just highlight the infraction and move on. Like, we want technical explanation on why this was an infraction. And there is your transparency. When you all of a sudden make the effort to boil everything down and say, hey, this is why, this is what we believe, and these are the proof or the results. A lot of time in drag racing, it's guilty until you can prove that you're innocent. I mean, let's face it. I briefly listened to snippets of a podcast, and I'm not going to mention the podcast because Tasha knows, because Tasha sent me the name of the podcast. And I'm sure that, this podcaster who gets thousands upon thousands of views within our industry is probably very good at what he does. So I'm not gonna bag on that. I didn't like the format. I didn't like a lot of things about it. But I also can't seem to get guests to come on our show because I think they're worried about what they'll actually say. And everybody is so worried about being politically correct that it's slightly disgusting. That's why I need people like Scott Palmer and Ricky Smith and people who just, will wing it with me, and we don't worry about that kind of stuff. Somebody said during this podcast that drag racing, there's a lot of cheating until you get caught, essentially. What I was always told when I was going to build a class car is if you are not playing in the gray areas, you're not trying to win. And it's frustrating because not everybody can afford to play in the gray areas. And I get it. Drag racing's not cheap. It's not meant to be cheap. It is what it is. But you could spend countless hours looking through the gray area. Like one of them is a working electrical system or operational electrical system, whatever it may be. Like, okay, where do you measure that from? And anybody who knows anything about electronics, well, tell me where you want it to measure from, and we'll get a reading there, and then the rest of it is, a moot point. You can make things read what you want. Again, gray areas. Now, here's the thing. If you black and white everything in drag racing as far as the rule book goes, the rule book is going to be bigger than an Encyclopedia Britannica. And for those of you who are too young to know what Encyclopedia Britannica is, essentially just take like 27 volumes or 30 volumes of War and Peace and stack them on top of each other. You're probably, if you're too young to know what Encyclopedia Britannica is, you're probably too young to know what War and Peace is. Just find a thick-ass book and stack 30 of them on top of each other, because that's what the rule book will look like for each class. If you have to black and white every single rule. There is then the spirit of the class, which is a whole load of horse shit as well. Nobody cares about the spirit of the class. What happened to my hair? That's a good question, Dale. Dale would like to know what happened to my hair. Well, Dale, that's called color. I know that you wouldn't understand given the fact that you don't have a lot of hair to accentuate, if you will. If this is your first time seeing the beautiful mane of hair that I have, I'm not sure what rock you've been living under, because my hair has been like this since January. And it will continue to be like this. Don't hate. Learn to appreciate. Jared, loophole racers. Well, is it really a loophole, though? I mean, if you're playing in the gray area of the rule book, which means it doesn't say I can't, it doesn't say I can. If it doesn't say I can't, that means I can. That is the mindset of any good drag racer, especially in class racing. If it doesn't say I can't, I am going to until they say that I can't. So, I mean, is it really loopholes, or is it playing by the rules until they change the rules? That could be debated all day long, whether it's a loophole or whether it's just playing within the guidelines that you're given, because it doesn't say that I can't. Listen, if there's a cookie jar sitting right there and I know that I shouldn't, but I'm not told that I can't, what do you think I'm going to do? It's the same thing. Inference takes over at some... You would think so. But again, that boils down to kind of the spirit of the rules or the spirit of the class. And when you're talking about as much money as you guys have invested in these cars, I mean, really, are we worried about the spirit of rules and the spirit of class, or are we just worried about winning and dropping numbers? While we're at it, since Jared is on here, hey, are you guys sharing this? Make sure to share it. Let's get everybody in here. Let's get some questions rolling. Talk about whatever you guys want to talk about. Jared, brief response I want from you, because I know that you're probably busy. Jared's planning a wedding. If you go... Hold on, let's see what Jared just said. If you go to a store, what's on the front door? The hours of operation state when they're open. It doesn't have to say when they're closed. You are incorrect. And I will tell you why. Because hours of operation are going to say 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Guess what? That 5 p.m. is in... the camera shutting off. So we'll see if we can get it. See, I don't get that. I'm going to have to figure that out, because it's like going into a sleep mode, and I guess I could try to turn on the autofocus again, because maybe it just, I don't know. We'll turn on the autofocus and it'll annoy the shit out of me and whatever. I guess if I stay in one place long enough, it probably won't, and we could probably do this a little bit just to pinky in the brain. So you're wrong in saying it doesn't have to say when it's closed. There's not an inference in regards to when it's closed. There is a very specific number when it's closed. If it says 9 to 5, and that 5 o'clock is on there, that is not an inference on when they close. That is a legitimate closing time. So, while I understand the argument, it is not... it's not an inference of when you're going to close. An inference would be, daytime hours, or, we're open until dinner time, or something like that. But when you actually have a number, you're not inferring anything at that point, in my opinion. When I'm closed, I'm closed. Jared, since you're on here, though, give me a short thought on a 403 being run in X275. This is going to piss a lot of people off. I saw a post yesterday where it seemed like I was grouped in, and it was probably directed at me, because I'm really some of the only media that covers X275 racing. And I had said, is it a great thing, or is it a nail in the coffin, whatever it may be, to run a 403? And, okay, so Jared says, it's realistic and we will all go faster than that. Faster than a 403. Do you think that is healthy for long-term sustainability of the class? Or are we going to see X turn into a 14 car field because all of a sudden you're running, you got 1, 2, 3 cars, 4 cars maybe that are running 399, and there's going to be no differentiation between X and LDR at that point. If you guys start running 3s in X, and LDR is running 380s and 390s, what in the hell is the difference at that point? No, it isn't good for long-term stability, but it's not because of the times they run. I think the cost has gotten exponential in any time that you've got technology, and technology has been vastly expanding over the 15 plus years that I've been paying attention to full-time radial stuff. I'm not talking about like radial stuff in the 90s that I followed in the early 2000s when NMRA and Fun Ford Weekend were running radial classes as well. But the current trend of radial, the amount of technology that has vastly improved the ability for these cars to run stupid numbers on very limited, I shouldn't even say very limited at this point, but the technology that comes along with that also comes along with a price tag. And let's be realistic. Let me ask you something, Jared, and I asked Jared because he's an X275 racer, and before he set his stuff to the side to concentrate on his personal life for a few years, he was at the top of that game. He was at the very top of X275. Legitimately, if you were to try to build an X operation from nothing at this point, are we looking at $200,000, $250,000 to build a legitimate top-tier X275 operation? It's the combinations it takes to do LDR and faster classes flourish because it's easier for them to just call Proline, TKM, BAE, get a Hemi, big turbo. Yeah, I don't disagree. I don't disagree with that statement at all. But okay, so here, Shane, another part of the X275 top tier, if you will, what I would call the top tier, the Moses brothers, $200K to build an X275 car. That's why you see people going 4.0s. Is because you've got so much invested in it. And the technology and the edge in which that you have to race on is a razor's edge. And you're a lot of the time on the verge of breaking shit. And when I'm talking about breaking shit, I'm not necessarily talking about your suspension or, some of the other stuff. I'm talking about engine parts, transmission parts, driveline parts, rear ends, things like that. And it costs a fortune to fix those things too. So when you are racing on the ragged edge like that, you're going to break shit. It's going to be expensive. And just to build the car is going to cost a fortune. I've got some great shops around where I live. And it's not like they're hurting for work. They're always got cars in there and getting things done. So obviously there's a need for it. I just worry that if we get into the 3s with X275, I saw it when we got into the 40s in X, and then the 30s and the 20s and the teens, that to me, the car count seems to dwindle a little more and more each time. And I don't know if that's, some kind of attrition, if you will. People are just sick of spending the money because, they're looking at it going, okay, I got a 420s, mid to low 420s car, and now people are going 4.0s. And I'm already breaking shit all the time. What do I do now? I remember the days, and there are some other people in this chat that remember the days, because I'm old, of showing up to Georgia, and we have damn near 80 X275 cars. I mean, I don't think we'll ever see that again. It's not realistic. I don't, you're not going to get 80 X. I don't even know if there's 80 X275 cars left in the country, for that matter, that haven't moved on to other classes or whatever it may be. Kyla's in the house. Hello, dear. But having a 16 car field would be nice, and I think that on average, we at least have that. So I guess in that respect, as long as we can stay with that, this thing keeps searching for focus. I gotta do better. I tried a different lens on it earlier, and I didn't like that lens. I'm just gonna turn off the autofocus again, and if the camera shuts off, I'll turn it back on. Because I hate that, like, in a focus, out of focus, in and out of focus. Whatever. You guys don't want to hear about this shit. So that's my thoughts on X275. I mean, God, Billy Smith ran a 41 in Ultra at Rockingham. If you want to talk about another class that, I don't know what you do there. Because apparently, nobody, and I shouldn't say nobody, John has got one of the hardest jobs in the world to deal with this shit. But let's be real. I mean, how many cars did they have show up for Ultra? 10, 12 cars for Ultra? And I know it's not South Georgia, it's yada, yada, yada. I don't know where you go with Ultra. Everybody always complains about the turbo cars, and then a nitrous car goes out and runs a 41. So, what are you going to do? I mean, Pro 275 and LDR are extremely healthy. But those drivers are to the point where they're going to spend the money anyways. They may take a few months off. It is becoming harder and harder to get some of the parts sometimes because of part shortages. They're not going anywhere. So, I mean, I think that they're fine. I think they're fine. I think ProMod is ridiculously healthy. Like, if you want to talk about a class that's really, really healthy right now, it's ProMod. Whether look at how many different places ProMods can race. IHRA, NHRA, PDRA, Midwest, Northeast Outlaw ProMods, NMCA, and then there's a bunch of one-off races. Cecil has got an invitational race. I just saw Tyler post about Shakedown, and that they were going to announce the participants in that. Midwest has got their SmackDown race in September, which is, oh man, if you guys do not want to miss that race. The richest purse in ProMod history in September at Flying H. That is going to be, I can't wait to be there. That is going to be huge. I'm super excited about that. And I'm also super excited because it's not an invitational. It is if you think that you've got what it takes to compete under the Midwest's rule set, and you want to come and race for enough money that you could legitimately pay off my house easily, then you can sign up and enter into the program. I think that is great. I'm not a huge fan of these big money races where it's a country club, like Eddie Maloney stated. Eddie's comment, not a country club. Exactly. I love the fact that it's open to whoever. And if you think you've got what it takes, then just bring it. Pay your entry and bring it and show everybody that you're one of the baddest in the country. That's what I like. I am not a big fan of invitational races. I don't know. Just my personal opinion. I mean, you guys all know how I feel about some of the other invitational races. You know, I addressed this on a Facebook Live. And unfortunately, I don't think my buddy Justin is in here right now. I addressed this on a Facebook Live. I think it was, I don't know, a few days ago or maybe even last week. I don't remember at this point. I want to send a big kudos to the mini trucking community. I am not by any means waist deep in the mini trucking community, obviously, like I am drag racing. Drag racing has been my entire life for 10 years. Voice, sounds, what? Sounds good. Thank you, dear. Anytime I get a compliment from a woman as beautiful as her, I'm going to start to blush a little bit and lose track of my words. I'm just saying. Thank you. Thank you. So, a huge shout out to the mini truck community. They have been so supportive and welcoming and enjoying the content that I created at that show, sharing the content, letting other people know about the content, yada, yada, yada. And here's the deal. I'm going to zoom in here just a little bit because I don't like the edges. It's a huge thing to me. Like when I'm looking at these drag racing albums that I post, that I cover at events, and when I look at the numbers versus the numbers from the mini trucking community, it's a night and day difference, guys. Huge props to that entire community. Super welcoming. And I was just glad. And I'm going to keep doing those types of shows. I'm not leaving drag racing. Though I've heard plenty of rumors about, I'm doing this or I'm doing that, and I'm leaving this, and listen. As long as I can continue to afford to put a roof over my head and feed my cats, I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing. I love drag racing. I always have. But I also love mini trucking, and I love car audio, and I love the car culture. So, yes, I am going to do some of that as well. And I'm super grateful for all the mini trucking community that has supported the content that I've put out from Mini Truck Nationals. There is one small album left, probably 30, 40 photos, that I will put out tomorrow. But I've been super happy with how receptive they were in allowing me to highlight such amazing builds. And Kyla, anytime that you want to go to a mini truck show with me, it's an open invite. I'll come pick you up. I've got a few more on the schedule this year that I plan on going to. I think my next one is going to be in, let's see, probably June and July. I'll probably go to Southern Tradition in July in Georgia. And I don't know. But you are always welcome to join me because it is a blast. The mini trucking community is just fantastic. Super welcoming, not cliquey, not judgy. Now, I will say that obviously I'm the unknown factor in the mini truck community because those people don't really know me. I mean, I know some of them know. Ever shot pictures or created content at a wedding? I have done multiple weddings, including Jeff Pierce, Jeff and Sam. They got married year and a half ago now. They got married on New Year's, like a year and a half ago or whatever it was, and I was their wedding photographer. So yes, in the past I have done weddings, boudoir, weddings, engagements. Obviously I do car features. I do a whole lot of, I used to do a lot of nature and wildlife stuff. Funny story is, what's happening, Doug? A funny story is, when Ellen and I were still living together, I took her out into the backyard one time and I handed her a camera, and I had my camera, and I had the long lens on. And I told her just pull up a chair. And I was sitting on a blanket on the ground. She's like, what are we doing? I said, we're going to photograph birds. She lasted about 10 minutes. And she's like, this is boring. I am going in the house. I was still out there for a couple more hours. But you have to be... That's why when people try to avoid me when I've got the camera, listen, if I want to get a shot, I'm going to get a shot because I am extremely patient when it comes to my photography. I'll stand there for 35 minutes and just wait until you are so oblivious to the fact that I am there and get the shot that I want. I don't care. I'm very, very patient with my photography when it comes to that. And if there is a shot that I want, I'm going to get it. And the same with when I do wedding stuff. Obviously, wedding stuff is go, 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 go. Boudoir stuff is very easy for me. It's, though I am very, I don't want to say dictatorish when it comes to that, but like I'm going to tell you, listen, I need you to move here, I need you to arch here, whatever it is. But for those, and I think Kyla has seen some of my work in regards to that. Ellen has seen some of my work in regards to that. I'm pretty happy with, I haven't done a boudoir shoot in years now. But I'm pretty happy with the stuff that I've done before. Jared, you didn't tell me I was going to have to work that weekend. Now I'm always up for making money, but you didn't tell me I was going to have to work. We're going to flip this autofocus on quick. Because I think if I flip that on and let it do its little autofocus thing, and then turn it back off when I get annoyed by it, it'll not shut off the camera. I agree, Kyla, and you and I have talked about this because, I'm very, very picky about who I'll photograph for boudoir, and you have to be willing to accept my vision and what, surprise, thanks, Jared. You have to be really willing to kind of go with the flow. And because I've got, certain visions in mind that you may not see until it's done. So I love doing boudoir work. I found it a lot easier to do it when I lived up north than when I live in the south. I think it's a Bible Belt thing, which, whatever, I'm fine with that. Everybody has got their own thing. But I'll definitely do boudoir work if I'm asked to do boudoir work, but I have to know you, and we have to, have some serious conversations prior to doing that kind of work. But I'm always up for doing a good boudoir shoot. I've got a few ladies that want me to do one, that I'm up for doing it. It's just a scheduling thing, and a lot of women right now want to get their tan on, their summer tan on, before they do any boudoir stuff. I'm good with that, whatever. I got all summer, into the fall, into the winter. I really want to go up north and do a boudoir shoot in the snow. That's what I would really like to do. During my extensive off season that, people seem to think that I have. And now it's not even catching focus. See, that's why autofocus annoys the crap out of me. So we're going to turn that back off. And we'll see how long the camera just stays on. Jared, surprise. Jared, I don't work for free, but you already know that. So what else is going on? I know that NMRA, has I don't know if it's a joint event, honestly. I guess I should have looked. But I know that NMRA is in St. Louis this weekend because I saw some of my friends going to St. Louis for NMRA. I am glad that they were able to get all of that cleaned up and fixed up and do what they need to do to make the track usable after losing that huge chunk of grandstands during that storm. Oh, wow. Well, so here's the deal. Your quickest class is Ultra Street. Obviously, NMRA has never focused on the quote-unquote fan experience. They don't care if they have 100 fans or 1,000 fans or 10,000 fans. And the pricing for their events also shows that is their thought process on it. And they don't like when I say what I say about them, but it's the truth. And I raced with them for years. Jared knows that. I raced with them part-time from 02 to 08 through 08. And I also covered numerous NMRA and NMCA events over the years after Ellen and I started the company. So they don't have a highlight class anymore, if you will, because, obviously there's no Pro 5.0, there's no Super Street Outlaw. I don't think they care. I think it's turned into a giant bracket race. I think that it's going the same way that Fun Ford did. It's turning into a giant bracket race, and honestly, so is NMCA, even though NMCA has Pro Mod. It's disappointing, to say the least, because they have amazing, talented racers over in that organization. Whether we're talking about, I'm not even going to start because the list will go entirely too long, and then there will be butthurt racers and friends of mine going, "Oh, you forgot to mention me." I know my buddy Jacob Lamb. This is his first NMRA race of the year. But yeah, listen, when your quickest class is going to be a 450s, 440s in the 8th, and you're charging essentially the same amount of money that Donald is charging for a week of racing that includes RVW and all these other heads-up cars and classes, and they'll say, well, we've got all these expenses versus what a Donald or a Monty or somebody else has. Well, if you had fans, if you put asses in the seats, the expenditures to have these races wouldn't be nearly as bad. And there are just some things about operationally that I don't like. I think they run a tight ship. I've never had a problem there. Charging $65 for the... Wait, we got to back up here. By the way, Tasha says there's an SCCA event in St. Louis this weekend as well. So if you guys are into road course stuff, SCCA is always awesome. What did Jared have to say? NMRA is always proved of racers who do the most with the least. Always proved if racers... I don't know what you're saying there, Jared. Chris, I need you to elaborate on that because maybe I'm out of the loop, but what do you mean $65 to live stream the event? Who in the hell is live streaming it? Because I know Flow is not a part of them anymore. So they're doing a pay-per-view model? And if so, who is doing the actual streaming? NMRATV.com. Okay, here's what I'll tell you. You are absolutely delusional if you think anybody is going to pay $65 an event to watch NMRA. It is not going to happen. Yeah, I knew. This, listen, if you guys aren't following NC Pro Modder, you definitely should. He is like I don't want to say the new iteration of Ellen when it comes to Facebook Live, because both of them were, absolutely fantastic. And NC Pro Modder has done a great job picking up when Ellen walked away from doing all of that Facebook Live stuff. NC Pro Modder picked up that torch and he ran with it, and he's doing a great job. He has really helped out some races in a pinch, so huge kudos to him, and I have sat and talked to him about business and some other things, giving him some advice on how to move forward and continue to prosper in regards to his lives. And I think that he's great for the industry as a whole, just like Ellen was when she first started the Facebook Live thing. Because listen, Ellen was the standard bearer when it came to Facebook Live at the drag strip. Period. You will never, ever, ever get me to change my mind about that. She was the standard bearer, and if she ever wanted to come back and do it, I could only imagine what it would be like for her and NC Promoter to work together doing that. With Ellen's knowledge, and now NC Promoter has really stepped up his game as far as, the equipment that he uses, yada, yada, yada. But you combine that with somebody like Ellen and the knowledge that she has, that would just be a lethal force in our industry. So kudos to him. I do know that he was at Rockingham for the NMRA NMCA event. Again, I had, when Chris Legg mentioned this $65 to live stream, and I'm like, what are we talking about here? Like, nobody is, I didn't even know about that, and I think that people are delusional. Whoever's making those decisions, if it is truly $65 to stream every event, and I'm not saying that Chris is wrong, I don't know because I have not looked it up. You know what? While we're here, why don't I do it? NMRATV.com. And let's see what the deal is. When I try to pull up NMRATV.com, nothing comes up. So are you sure about that, Chris? Yeah, NMRATV.com. Oh, let's try NMRA. Oh. I mean, I don't even see anything on their page, which it's interesting that they've got Kiefer's car on the banner for this weekend's race. I don't even know if Kiefer is there or not. Wait. Okay, it is a joint NMCA NMRA event. So there's that. Oh, now it's changed to $25. I wouldn't pay $9.99 to live stream an NMRA event. Essentially, you're watching bracket racing. It is what it is. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love Coyote stock. I love factory stock. I mean, those are the two classes that I'm really going to tune in for. But other than that, I'm not going to. And $25 is asinine. I have a hard time believing that they would have 50 people that would pay that much. So the idea that a pay-per-view model is a good model is, it's just not, yeah. Yeah, exactly. They're going down the Fun Ford path. Eventually, I think all of these, I think the entire thing is, in my opinion, and I don't have any inside because I have not been to an NMRA or NMCA event in a few years now. We had a falling out. I told them what I thought, and that is what it is. And don't worry, I'm still here. The camera just decided that it didn't like me again. So I'm not sure. There we go. See? I'm going to have to find what's causing that, and I apologize. Again, this is the first broadcast that I'm doing with this new setup, so there are going to be some glitches. What did Jared have to say? I feel that they're always behind on trending. Oh, they absolutely are. They were at least 3 years late in going to 8th Mile stuff. They absolutely were way behind and continue to be way behind because they want to do it their way and they think that their way is the right way to do it and yada, yada, yada. Well, it's been shown time and time again that they fall behind, and then they get behind the 8 ball, and, it just is what it is. So, what are you going to do? There are still racers that support them, and that's great, and unfortunately, for some of those racers, there's not much of an option otherwise. So, again, that is what it is. I don't know that there's really anything that you can do about it, and I don't know that they will ever do anything about it. I think at some point you're going to have to see the two organizations combine into a single organization, because I think sponsors are going to get sick of this. They don't have live feed anymore. Well, apparently they've got this live feed thing going, but they don't really have live feed anymore, and it's turning into more of a bracket race than the good old days, if you will, with Real Street and Factory Stock and, is Super Street Outlaw and Renegade and Pro 5-0, and I know that I am living in the past, but that was the heyday of NMRA, and I don't see a way to get back to that. There are a lot... can you hear me, Braden? Braden says that he lost sound. Can you guys hear me? If anybody... Can you guys hear me? Okay, Jameson hears me. Thank you, Jameson. I don't know why it would have lost sound, but, who knows. I don't think that there's any way to get back to where we were with NMRA. There's just too many other options now. Whether we're talking limited 235, Ultra X, LDR. And honestly, I think NMRA and NMCA are going to turn into kind of, how do I put this? Kind of like a Nitro Circus, where, and that's not a diss, because Nitro Circus is super cool. But what's going to happen is they're going to turn around and add all of this other stuff. Drifting, monster trucks. They're going to add all of this other stuff like they do at the Bowling Green World Finals for NMRA. Whether it's the trophy truck type of stuff, whether it's, Bigfoot and monster trucks, or the drifting stuff. You're taking all of that and turning it into more of an event than just drag racing. Somebody said this to me in the last day or two. Supposedly Cletus said this, and I don't know if it annoyed the shit out of me or not, but I get it. He's got millions of people that watch his shit and whatever else. Kudos to Cletus. He's done a great job. He's, brought in an audience, so kudos to him. No shame in that. But the comment was made that drag racing is not enough. The technology has caused drag racing to be not enough. It has safened, it has quickened, it has made these cars faster, but it has also taken the entertainment value out of it. And a lot of promoters think, okay, I'm just going to put on a drag race and that'll be entertaining enough to put asses in the seats. I don't necessarily disagree with Cletus's assessment, but I don't think that you need all the three-ring circus bullshit either. I think if, for one, depending on what track you hold it at, obviously you can't do this all the time. Racing radial cars in the middle of the day when it's 80 degrees and sunny, guess what? People don't want to see that shit because all you're going to see is tractors dragging up and down the track. If you've got a track without a curfew, and a legitimate track without a curfew where you're not going to offend people, and you want to get 2 rounds of eliminations or a round of eliminations in, don't start anything until 6 o'clock at night. Let everybody do whatever the hell they want during the day and start later. Go into the nighttime. It's the same reason people want to see NHRA race under the lights. Yes, it's much more of a pain in the ass for photographers, which is okay with me because it'll weed out some people that probably shouldn't be there to begin with. Hint, hint. But I think that if you start later, especially during the warmer months, start later, that'll help. I think that entirely, and given, I've never put on a race. I'm not going to claim to be a race promoter. I have been in this industry for over 30 years. I've seen things come and go, and I'm still also a huge fan. I think that in this economy, I would much rather charge somebody, I would much rather charge $40 or $50 and have 10,000 people than charge them $75 or $80 and have 1,000 people. That's just my, and honestly, when you do that, you know, then you're looking at sponsorship growth and car growth, because all of a sudden you're racing in front of people, yada yada. Racers want to race in front of people. Racers do not want to race in front of empty grandstands. Let's see. Hannah, are you going to be at Throwdown? Absolutely. I am heading to Tulsa next. I think Ellen said I could come on Wednesday, so I'll be out there Wednesday. I'll roll into Tulsa Wednesday evening. Tasha brings up a huge point here. Drag and drive stuff is taking off. You want to know why drag and drive stuff is taking off? Because unless you're top tier like Snot Rocket 2 or somebody like Cletus, where you're trying to get the overall record, or, you know, a Tom Bailey or a Larry Larson or somebody like that, where you're trying to get these 5 and 6 second passes, drag and drive stuff is so relatable to the masses. I did Sick Week this January or February, whatever it was, February, for the first time, and I loved it. Now, given, if I ever do Sick Week again, I've got to bring more photographers with me, because solo photographer cannot get what you need to get in an event like this for over 4, 5, 6 days. You just can't. I plan on doing Sick Summer up north this summer as well. But the simple fact is, people can relate to this. You can take your newer Mustang, your newer Camaro, your newer Corvette, your Charger, your Challenger, whatever it is, and you can legitimately do this drag and drive stuff. And when it is appealable to the masses, Sick Week was such a great event, Kyla. I'm going to Sick Summer, by the way. I know that your schedule is ridiculously packed, and you've got like 6 jobs and doing all of these classes at Pulse, these exercise classes. Get your mind out of the gutter, people. She's doing leading these exercise classes for people to get healthy. I should probably take note of that and do something about myself. But I do plan on doing Sick Summer, which is like Great Lakes Dragaway, Byron, Cordova, and I think there's one other track in Iowa, and that is like the second week of June, from like the 9th to the 14th. So like Wisconsin, Northern Illinois, Iowa. Apparently my camera turned off, and that's really getting annoying. I guess I'll just turn on this stupid ass autofocus again so it can sit here and hunt for autofocus back and forth. It is so relatable to so many people because of the same cars that you can go cruise on a Friday night with and truly enjoy. Tri-State Dragway. Thank you, Tasha. Yeah, it is. Jameson, it is. This is my first time using this new setup, and I've got the D8, my Nikon D850 running through the Nikon software into the computer. And when I leave the autofocus on, it obviously doesn't time out because it doesn't quote unquote go to sleep. When I turn it into manual focus, it tends to apparently decide that it is going to sleep. So I've got to fix that. But yet again, like I said, this is the first time using this setup. So, you learn. You and I both know how that goes. Jameson does some great work, by the way. Jameson, give my people a couple of movie recommendations. What would you recommend that's out right now or coming out that we should look out for? Jameson has done like movie reviews, and he's just I went to school with Jameson, just an amazing guy. Let's see, Tasha, can't decide to go to GLD or Byron. Byron. Honestly, that's going to be my answer. Byron. GLD is a farther drive for you than Byron is. Byron is a nicer facility, and I think we go to Byron twice. Add to that the racing starts early in the day. Yeah, I know. I know what you're talking about. And the parts and... Oh, what is... Mikey, and the parts reliability and technology has come so far, which means drag and drive events. Dare to say, I agree. I wholeheartedly agree, because you do not have to tear your. I'm going to leave this one up for a second. You don't have to tear your shit up like you used to. The technology, as far as like the electronic fuel injection, the shocks, the struts, overdrives, transmission hard parts, everything has come so far that you can legitimately cruise a 2,000 horsepower car to the next track, towing a tiny trailer behind it, and rip off, 7-second passes and drive on to the next one. It's not like it was. Listen, when I was even, let me think about this. We're in 2024, even 20 years ago. If you had a 12-second street car, it was pretty, it was stout for a 12-second street car. Now, essentially, you buy a car off the lot and you're doing that. So technology has come a long way, and again, it's very accessible and relatable for people who are interested in getting into drag racing and not going to class racing, because it's not going to cost you $200,000 to just go have some fun in a drag and drive. And the people there are great. Everyone hangs out with each other, and it's just a good time. Jameson says Fall Guy. Fall Guy is a new movie to see. So if you guys get a chance, we don't always agree on movies. I'm sure that he probably did not like the Roadhouse. I don't even call it a remake, because honestly, to me, it wasn't a remake. It just kind of took from the basic premise of the original Roadhouse. And you guys probably didn't realize, when you're all complaining about this Roadhouse movie on Amazon, that they made a Roadhouse 2. There was a sequel to Roadhouse. It was freaking terrible. This Roadhouse, I absolutely loved. And I don't know if Jameson and I agreed on The Beekeeper. I thought The Beekeeper was an amazing movie. It's a typical Jason Statham movie, but I thought it was really good, and I thought he did really well in it. And I thought Jeremy Irons did really, really well in Beekeeper as well. Suspension doesn't work for drag racing. Well, that's because yours is set up for autocross. Duh. Beekeeper was fun. You guys are naming some movies. What is this? Jake Busey in Roadhouse 2. Roadhouse 2 was terrible. I mean, that was a terrible sequel. I watched it like once, and I'm like, I will never watch this again. The new Roadhouse on Amazon, though, I've watched like 4 times. I absolutely love it. I think Conor McGregor did a great job. Beekeeper, I thought, was great. I thought Jeremy Irons, in his supporting role in that movie, was absolutely phenomenal. Probably just because I like Jeremy Irons as an actor. Is that his name, Jeremy Irons? Am I getting that right? Or did I completely screw that up and make myself look like a dumbass? And there's... Jason Statham is biggest crush. Kyla, I just want you to know something. I've been asked this before because everyone says, well, who's your celebrity crush? And I've got a couple of them. Celebrity crush, as far as a woman goes, I absolutely love. Now I can't remember her name, and now I'm going to have to look it up. Give me just a second here. And why do I think my camera just turned off again? No, it didn't. Okay. Katie Mixon. The woman who plays Katie Otto on American Housewife. I have such a huge crush on her. She is absolutely... And as far as my man crush goes, like a lot of women go, well, who's your man crush in Hollywood? Yeah, Eastbound and Down. You are 100% right, Jameson. Man crush? Yep. Brooke absolutely nailed it. Jason Statham. Huge man crush on Jason Statham. I will watch every movie that he's in. Absolutely love him. He is awesome. By the way, Brooke's in the chat, and Brooke is the one that handles this this beauty on top of my head. She's the one that tries to make me look pretty for all you ladies. So any of you ladies who like the hair and think that she's doing a good job, that's all Brooke. I literally walk in there and I have no idea what she's going to do, and I just let her do her thing, and and this time she decided that she was going to put a little line in my eyebrow too while she was at it. And I'm like, what in the hell is she doing? Is she just trimming my eyebrows or what's going on? No, she decided she was just going to do one of those marks in my eyebrows as well. So if you guys are ever in this area and need somebody to take care of the hair, Brooke is who does all of this and makes me look, I'm not going to take credit for it. It's just attached to the pretty face, but she does an amazing job with what she does, and she tolerates me. A funny story. I'm going to embarrass Brooke for a second here. Well, Brooke doesn't get really embarrassed. There was a point last year when I was on Facebook dating. I call it Facebook Marketplace, but Facebook dating. And I matched with Brooke, and Brooke and I are talking, yada, yada, yada. And I had also matched with, another person and was talking, but I asked Brooke to dinner, and she says, she said something along the lines of, let me ask my best friend who you also matched with. That is a fact, people. Only me can I match with best friends on Facebook dating. So the funny thing is, she said sure, and she told me where to meet her or whatever. And I knew that her and her friend were both coming. She apparently did not tell her best friend that this was like a three-way first date type of deal. We went to the restaurant, and I think we sat there for 3 or 4 hours, just, shooting the shit or whatever. Brooke and I have essentially become like best friends. I see her. We try to go to lunch at least once a week. She does my hair every few weeks. Brooke and I have absolutely become the best of friends. And yes, I know that the screen is black. There we go. See, it even did it with the autofocus on. So I'm going to have to figure out the setting on that. But yeah, that's my funny Brooke story is... I met Brooke on Facebook dating, and Brooke is now one of my best friends, does my hair, and, it's just funny stories like that. So thank you to Brooke for not making me look like a 47-year-old degenerate. Because, well, in case you guys didn't know, I'm quickly approaching 50. And yes, I have pink hair. Which is funny because a lot of people question a lot of things about me when you have pink hair, and I'm just like, yeah, you're wrong, but it's okay. So, yeah, she gets all the credit for making this look. Yeah, you can't make it, as Brooke says, you can't make that up. It was, and the funny thing is, Brooke and I hit it off, best friend wise. She's like my sister. We're about the same age. I don't ever give away Brooke's age, but I guess I just did now. And we are literally like brother and sister. We will catfight all day long. She's got to tell me to be appropriate when I go into the hair salon because I'm one of the only guys that she's got as a regular client. Which I don't understand because obviously, as you guys can tell, this mop is amazing. But again, she tolerates me. And there's a lot to be said about any of my friends who can actually tolerate me. So, and Kyla says, we love Brooke. Yeah, well, she did. I mean, look at that. Even my hard part still looks good, dear. I'm just saying. My bill is in the mail. I'm going to have to write you an IOU for how broke I am right now. So we've talked movies. Hey, let me ask you guys. Since we're talking about everything else tonight, including, car stuff. What do you guys think about Beyonce's country music? I know, touchy subject, right? What does everyone think about Beyonce doing country music? Not a fan. Then again, I wasn't a fan of her non-country stuff either, so I guess it's a moot point, but I always like to get other people's what they think about stuff, and I it's definitely not for me. But then again, a lot of newer music is not for me. A lot of newer hip hop is certainly not for me. I'm not saying they're not talented. They're way more talented than I am as far as doing that goes. But it's definitely not my cup of tea. I am kind of stuck in the 80s and 90s, I guess. And maybe even early 2000s. I don't know. It is what it is. I do like the way that this light works with my hair, though. I'm still jamming to power metal. Kyla is, too, I think. I still love metal, depending on what it is. I'm not a huge fan of screaming to the point where you can't understand a damn word that they say. She's taking a sabbatical? What? What did I miss? Did I miss something here? Oh, yes, I did. So she's taking a sabbatical. Okay. And I don't disagree with her because, and I hope she doesn't kill me for saying this, but her love life is about as much of a train wreck as mine is. So, there's that. We talk about it all the time. Both of us are kind of in the same boat in regards to that. It's kind of a, do we just give up at this point? What ticket was that for, Tasha? That wasn't for, Cannibal Corpse, was it? I thought that was the next one that you were going to. I really want to go see Pantera, Stop. So Brooke, Kyla, she, I'm not, I can't with you guys. I can't. Listen, Brooke and I are like BFFs, and I love her to death. And Kyla already knows how I feel about her, so I'm just gonna leave that at that. If never mind. I'm stumbling over my words every time Kyla comes into this chat and starts commenting. I all of a sudden stumble over my words like I'm a damn 12-year-old that's never spoken to another human being before. So that may give you some indication of how I feel. But yeah, I can't with you two. Anyways, exactly, Tasha. I really want to go see Pantera this summer. I think they were playing in either Indiana or Illinois. I don't remember. But damn, is it expensive to go see live music nowadays. No, you don't have to wake up at 4 a.m. You choose to wake up at 4 a.m. because you've probably got another workout class because, well, that's what you do. And I'm never going to fault you for that. I love you to death. Go do what you've got to do. I know you've got to get up in less than 6 hours. And she'll go do this whole, she'll like teach an entire workout class and then go work all day and then go back and teach another workout class. Oh, I thought like at 40, what? I thought you were doing like the workout thing at like 5 a.m. or whatever and then going to your job and then going to another workout session. Yeah, I can't keep track of your schedule because you're about as good at replying to messages as, I don't know, a dead person. Because, like, you reply every few days if I'm lucky. Yeah, I just did say that out loud. I called you out. I don't recommend nose surgery. I could have actually told you that, Tasha, because Eric Gunther had that years ago. And he had like the Roto-Rooter sinus thing, and it only lasted a couple of years. I have absolutely no idea what this means. I mean, you know, facts are facts. That I think the last time I sent Kyla a message was Saturday while I was at the racetrack. I don't think she opened it until Thursday. So, yeah, toodles, dear. I'll talk to you later. What were we talking about? Oh, the nose surgery, yeah. And honestly, like, I should have it done too, and I'm just like, no, that's not going to happen. I stay inside. I'm aware of that. And so I don't know... I stay inside because God forbid you go out and do anything with me. You need to go to bed is what you need to do. Otherwise, I'm going to keep calling you out on this, by the way. Listen, I'm skipping nose surgery. I don't want anybody to screw up what's left of my beautiful face. So I don't want to get any more hideous than I already am. I'm just saying. Because I don't... yes, sir. Thank you, bye. Yeah, love you. Bye. I'd say talk to you tomorrow, but that probably won't happen either. Oh, I'm terrible. I know. I'm such an awesome friend, I tell you. So, I love you more. So yeah, I mean, we've covered a lot of things. We've covered some drag racing stuff. If you guys want me to do more of the live stuff, I got punched in the face. Oh, punched in the face. Had to get surgery. You're not supposed to. Kyla's going to talk to me next Wednesday while I'm driving to Tulsa, I'm assuming, because, that's where I've got to go because, God forbid. Oh, that's right. It kind of goes back to that post that she made on Facebook about not getting free time and availability confused with each other, because apparently when she has free time, and yes, I know that the camera went black again, it's apparently like an every 10-minute thing at this point. Apparently free time does not constitute actual availability. Hence my response was, interesting. So there's that. But yeah, if you guys want me to do more of these lives, I do have some guests that want to be on the podcast. I actually had a guest scheduled today. She couldn't do it. She got inundated with work and was still working as of a few hours ago when I talked to her. But I will have her on soon. Those will probably be recorded and then uploaded to the socials. Again, a big shout out to Menser Motorsports and Classic Graphics. They continue to support what I do year after year after year. Couldn't do it without them. Both amazing companies, amazing people. So I will continue to always support them and push them. If you need the products that they have, definitely get a hold of them. Yeah, we definitely are going to have to get together and do some race recaps, Jared, and I actually want to have you on the podcast so we can talk about X275 and where you see it going in the future. Have a serious, in-depth conversation because you've been around long enough to have an intelligent conversation about this and know what we are talking about. So, if there are no more questions, we've gone approaching an hour and a half. If you guys have any more questions, I'll be more than happy to answer them. And otherwise, I think we're going to log off of here soon. Like I said, it is already 10:30. I'm just seeing I managed to silence my phone. At least I can do something right. So I think we're going to call it an evening again. Thursday, May 2nd at... Well, now we're reaching 10:30 Eastern time. I do appreciate everybody coming on tonight and making this interesting. Obviously, if we had nobody on here, this would be kind of stupid. I would love to get to the point where we've got, 100, 150, 200 people on here and ask questions, things like that. So make sure that you're sharing these when I go live. Stay engaged, ask questions. Don't be afraid to ask questions. That's what I'm here for, and we'll talk about it. So until next time, hopefully I can get something posted for you guys tomorrow. I do have another Mini Truck Nats album dropping tomorrow. I've also been working on editing Alabama Madness, which was the Bobby Cole Mike Hill race from this last weekend. I'm hoping to have Mike Hill on the show at some point as well. He is a promoter that I greatly respect, and in my mind is kind of on the Mount Rushmore of racing promoters. So, with that said, I'm glad everyone stopped by tonight. Thank you for engaging and putting up with some technical difficulties, which I hope to have fixed by next time. So, like I said, I appreciate all of you guys. You guys take care. Be safe. We'll talk again.